Have you ever felt like giving up? Like the world has dealt you an unbeatable hand? Today, I want to tell you a story that will change the way you see obstacles. It's a story of a man who faced the unimaginable and didn't just survive, he soared. This is the story of Alex Zanardi, a champion the world will never forget. In the high-speed world of auto racing, names like Schumacher and Hamilton are legendary. But there's another name, whispered with a unique kind of reverence: Zanardi. In the 90s, Alex Zanardi was a force of nature in the Kart World Series. An Italian driver with a charismatic smile and nerves of steel, he twice conquered the American open-wheel racing scene, winning the championship in 1997 and 1998. He was known for his aggressive, breathtaking driving style, most famously for the pass at Laguna Seca in '96, a move so audacious it's still talked about today. He was at the peak of his career, a hero to millions. But on September 15, 2001, at the Lausitzring in Germany, everything changed in a heartbeat. Leading the race with just 13 laps to go, Zanardi pitted. As he merged back onto the track, his car spun out of control, directly into the path of oncoming traffic. Another driver, Alex Tagliani, collided with him at over 200 miles per hour. The impact was catastrophic, splitting Zanardi's car in two. The scene was devastating. First responders who arrived thought it was a lost cause. Zanardi had lost both of his legs in the crash and, with them, nearly 75% of his blood. He was clinically dead 7 times. His heart stopped beating, but the medical team refused to give up. In a race against time, they airlifted him to a hospital in Berlin. He was in a medically induced coma for days, his life hanging by the thinnest of threads. The world held its breath, praying for a miracle, and a miracle they got. Against all odds, Alex Zanardi woke up. When he learned the full extent of his injuries, that his legs were gone, his response wasn't one of despair. It was one of gratitude. In his first press conference, he didn't mourn what he'd lost. Instead, he smiled and thanked the doctors for saving his life. He looked at his wife, Daniela, and told her, "Now we begin a new adventure." This wasn't just a brave face. It was a profound shift in perspective. Zanardi saw his survival not as an end, but as a new beginning. The question on everyone's mind was, what's next for a race car driver with no legs? For most, the answer would be retirement. For Alex, the answer was, how do I get back in a car? Less than 2 years after the crash, the world watched in awe as Alex Zanardi returned to the Lausitzring. The race organizers had saved the car from his fateful crash. In a specially modified race car with hand controls for the throttle and brake, he got back behind the wheel. Not for a parade lap, but to finish the 13 laps he never got to complete. He drove them at competitive speeds, proving to himself and to the world that his spirit was unbreakable. This moment wasn't an ending, it was the starting line for his second act. Zanardi was determined to compete again. He worked with engineers to develop a system that allowed him to race using only his hands. And in 2005, he returned to professional motorsports, competing in the World Touring Car Championship. The world watched, inspired. But then he did the unthinkable. On a rainy day in Germany, Alex Zanardi won a race. He stood on the podium, leaning on his prosthetic legs, a champion once more. It was a victory that transcended sport. It was a victory for human resilience. But Alex's new adventure was just getting started. After conquering the racetrack for a second time, he set his sights on a new challenge: hand cycling. He approached it with the same intensity and dedication he had for racing. "When I was a driver," he said, "I was always trying to find the last hundredth of a second. Now I'm doing the same thing with a hand cycle." He trained relentlessly, pushing his body to new limits. The boy from Bologna who dreamed of racing cars was now aiming for the Paralympic Games in 2012. At the London Paralympics, the world watched as Alex Zanardi, now 45 years old, powered his way to the finish line. He won not 1, but 2 gold medals and a silver. As he held his hand cycle above his head in triumph, his emotional celebration became one of the most iconic images of the Games. He repeated his success 4 years later in Rio de Janeiro, winning 2 more gold medals and another silver, proving that age and adversity are no match for a determined heart. He had transformed himself from a racing legend into a Paralympic hero, inspiring millions with his infectious optimism and refusal to be defined by his limitations. Zanardi's philosophy was simple. I am not Alex Zanardi, the guy with no legs. I am Alex Zanardi, the guy who is a two-time Paralympic champion. He never saw his prosthetics as a disability, but as an opportunity. An opportunity to learn, to grow, and to discover new strengths he never knew he had. He often said the accident gave him a new life, a life filled with opportunities he would have never experienced otherwise. His journey reminds us that the worst day of your life can be the beginning of your best. It's a powerful lesson in perspective. We all face setbacks, moments of doubt, and challenges that seem insurmountable. But Zanardi's story teaches us that it's not the event itself that defines us, but our response to it. Do we focus on what we've lost, or do we focus on what we have left and what we can build from it? Alex Zanardi's life is a testament to the power of the human spirit. He showed us that true strength isn't in our muscles, but in our minds. It's in the courage to start over, the passion to pursue a new dream, and the gratitude for every single day. He lost his legs, but he found his purpose. He became a champion not just in sport, but in life. A champion the world will, and should, never forget. Thank you so much for watching. If this story inspired you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of incredible human spirit. Let me know in the comments what you found most inspiring about Alex's journey. Until next time, stay curious and stay inspired.